Stephen King once defined terror as coming home and noticing everything you own had been taken away and replaced by an exact substitute. It's when the lights go out and you feel something behind you. You hear it. You feel its breath against your ear, but when you turn around, there's nothing there. If that definition rings true, then it is the epitome of tonight's movie, 2019's I See You. To understand the true terror of I See You, you need to know what phrogging is, and that's phrogging with a PH instead of an F. If you don't know, it's the basis of many urban legends. It's the act of living in someone else's house without their knowledge or permission, hiding in the closet or basement avoiding detection. And there are real-life cases of this happening, some of them even going on for years. The victims of these incidents claim that they knew something was off, but they usually just blame themselves for misplacing the keys, or maybe hearing a noise at night, when in reality, unbeknownst to them, there was someone else living in the house. It's probably one of the scariest things in existence that no one really talks about, and its inclusion in movies is lacking to say the very least. Luckily, we have I See You, but the real question is in this movie, who, or maybe what, is the thing living with this family? I'm not gonna spoil it here, but let's find out if I See You is worth your time. Welcome to the HellBound Horror Show. I See You starts with some beautiful drone and sweeping landscape shots, while droning music sets the tone. We get a real sense of the town and surrounding area, as well as setting up the atmosphere perfectly. We follow a 10-year-old Justin Witter riding his bike home through the woods, and then this happens. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was digging the moody opening, but this shot made me laugh out loud. He goes flying! Clearly, he's on some kind of bungee, but what happened in the world of the movie? It just looks goofy and it took me right out of the film. Luckily, the serious tone sets back in quickly after. We follow Detective Greg Harper, his wife Jackie, played by Helen Hunt, and their son Connor. Jackie's cooking breakfast, and through some quick dialogue, we understand that Jackie recently had an affair. Connor is mad that she's tearing the family apart, and Greg has been distant and sleeping on the couch. Greg is on the case of the missing 10-year-old boy, and this is the second one in a few weeks. While searching for clues, they stumble upon a knife, which was the same exact MO for a previous serial killer. But that serial killer's in jail. Is this a copycat? Or did they arrest the wrong person? While at home, the family is experiencing some weird phenomena like misplaced mugs, pictures missing from their picture frames, all the silverware disappearing, TVs randomly turning on, and covers slowly being pulled off of them in the middle of the night. There's obviously a lot more to the movie, but that's a simple rundown. The film is constantly trying to pull off twists and turns left and right, and for the most part, it succeeds at them. A little over halfway through the movie, the film shifts tones. The first half is brooding, head-scratching, heart-pounding thrill ride, and the second half is not really that. I personally didn't enjoy much of the second half, but we'll get more into that later. Now, I missed out on I See You when it initially came out, and I didn't hear much about it, which makes sense when you realize the movie brought in $1.1 million worldwide on a production budget of $5 million. Ooh, yeah, no one went to see this movie. But I saw it on sale and then looked at the reviews online, and the response is overwhelmingly positive. 6.8 on IMDb is pretty high for a horror flick. Plus, the mask looked pretty cool. I initially thought this was a monkey mask, playing with the see no evil motif, but obviously taking the hands away from the eyes and playing with the title, I See You. But this thing is supposed to be a frog mask. I guess I can see it, but the heavy eyebrows and sunken eye sockets throw me off quite a bit. The frog mask does make sense with the theme of phrogging, so that's cool, I guess. I know there are a lot of fans to I See You, and I understand why. It's a solid flick. There's a lot of twists and turns, and everything is tied up with a bow at the very end. There's not a lot of challenging the viewer, but That's okay. You will get all your answers by the end for all the story beats, so don't worry about that. The film is shot well enough. The lighting is solid in most scenes. Acting is pretty good. Some hiccups here and there with the cast, but overall solid. Music is good, but maybe a bit generic at this point with the deep droning synth sounds made popular by Hans Zimmer, but solid. Now on to some of the flaws. Yeah, these may not bother the average moviegoer, but for some reason, they really annoyed me. I talked about the big tonal shift a little over halfway through the film, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. The first half of the movie almost hits the climax of the film with none of the mysteries solved, and then we get a big rewind and we start the whole movie over again, but this time from a different perspective, answering all the different questions down to every little detail that we got from the first half. Now, I'm fine with a movie solving all of its mysteries, but did we really need half of a film for that? Could you imagine watching The Sixth Sense and then halfway through the movie you get the plot twist? And then the second half of the movie is just the first half of the movie again, but this time explaining all the little details you missed? That would be spoon-feeding the audience, and it would take away all the impact of the story. Sure, have quick flashbacks to the major events so we can connect the dots, but don't spend 45 minutes talking about how you fooled us during the first half. Things wrap up a little too nicely in ICU, but if you think about some of the events, they don't make a ton of sense. Now, I'm not here to talk about plot holes or leaps of faith, but just know there are a few. I really enjoyed my time with ICU. Does it deserve a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb? Probably not, but maybe a 6.4, maybe even a 6.5. 6.8 though, no. It Follows and The Babadook are both 6.8 on IMDb, and It Follows and The Babadook are significantly better than ICU, but that's just my opinion. The cool thing about opinions is that everyone has one, and they are all valid to the individual. If you love this movie, I totally get it. ICU has an amazingly terrifying concept and does a wonderful job creating a tense atmosphere as well as a rich mystery. It's told well and should have most audience members on the edge of their seats. Yeah, I personally didn't dig the second half's tonal shift, but I still fully recommend ICU. And that's all I have for tonight, so thank you so much for watching and stay spooky, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy this content and want to support the channel, please consider subscribing or by buying me a coffee in the description below. Any little bit helps. Thank you. Bye.